Hello and welcome on this rather overcast Monday morning. How are you doing today? I'm going to be making some pretty bracelets with you. I've got some gemstone beads. It is Malaysian jade or Malay jade. They're faceted, they're vividly coloured, and I've got some gorgeous little flower spacer type beads really. I'm going for quite a chunky look today. I want a kind of big clasp and I'm using quite large size beads. We've got four gorgeous colours for you to choose from today. They're really straightforward to make, nice little easy stringing project, but again, using very beautiful coloured beads and lovely little findings. Not only are the colours are going to differ depending on which choice of bead that you go for, but also all of the metals will change as well. So I've got some kind of antique silver, some copper, some kind of bronzy brass, some gold colours for you to choose from. So it's a really nice choice. We've got a lot of well, it's a multi-buy in the sense of the fact that you're going to be making up, I think it's 3 bracelets per kit. They are heavily discounted and they vary in price as well. So we've got something for everyone, depending on your colour palette and your budget. So thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to say a very quick good morning to you. Good morning to Izzy. She says good morning, Natalie and everybody. Back from my travel. Snow and can't wait to get back into making these look lovely. Thank you so much. Good morning to Mina. Hello to Carol. Peace and love to Anastasia. Jan's in as well. She's in a very dull Sudbury, she said today. It's cold. It's cold out today. A good day to stay in, to wrap up warm and to make these beauties. So if I take you down on the mat, you'll see what I'm talking about. These are our lovely, I call them Jada. So it is Malaysian jade, or often referred to as Malay jade. And Malay jade it isn't like a nephrite or a jadeite. It's usually a quartz, so like a quartzite or a chalcedony, and then they're usually dyed to add colour to them. Now I'm just dead nosy, so I like to know what I'm working with, and I was asking Simon this morning, why do they vary so much in price? I think they're all dyed somewhat. I would say these colours are enhanced, but I think your natural stone to these would be within those colour remits and they are enhanced. The purple is dyed with this absolutely beautiful deep purple colour, and therefore it's just a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit more pocket friendly. I don't like to use the word cheaper, but they don't look cheap, but it is a really good alternative because they're much less expensive, shall we word it that way instead, than if you were going to be using, your natural jades. Malay jade is often used in jewellery because of its ability to take on these beautiful, vibrant colours. You get a lot of gorgeous shine. And these are faceted as well, so you're going to get even more shine and more shimmer in these. They're a nice big chunky size. I've paired them with these beautiful findings. I love the details on these flowers. It's just bringing a little bit of summer, I think, for me, but also they look gorgeous together. So if you wanted to multi-buy and you wanted to layer them up, or if you wanted to multi-buy and you wanted to mix the colours together, you could absolutely do that. What I think personally is, I think they would make the most beautiful necklaces. I want this one in a necklace, and all of your findings would lend itself to that as well, because you've got those good big clasps on, a lovely toggle, easy to put on. But I think they would just give a lovely kind of curved shape, and I think they would make a beautiful necklace. Now you're going to be making 3 bracelets up in these kits today, so if you wanted to do that instead, you absolutely could. If you wanted to multi-buy on the kits, you could make yourself a suite of jewellery. They're really straightforward to make, and I love the different colours of your metals, and I love the different colours of the beads. One of the things I would like to point out is your clasp. So you can see you've got this beautiful kind of, this looks to me like a flower, but I suppose it's a bit like a star. And you can see we've got different finishes in these. So this is more of like kind of a warm copper tone. The light's not great in here today, I do apologise. So on these colorways, these are the clasps that you're getting. In the silvery colorway, I'm using the swirl instead. They're all the same measurements. It's just a slightly different design on that clasp. So that's the admin done, I suppose. Morning, mummy. You all right? Hello, Kath. Good morning to Camille. She says you've had a lovely weekend. Dull grey here again. I've had a very mixed bag of a weekend, to be honest with you, Camille. But I did get to go for some light relief in between. And I did have a nice night out. So only for a couple of hours, but just to kind of distract myself, really. Fairness Born says that green is lovely. It's beautiful, isn't it? Really, really gorgeous. She says it's really vibrant. Good morning to Elaine. How are you doing? Good morning to Joe. Nina says she's loving the blue Jade. Good morning to, who else have I missed? Hello to Elaine. Good morning to Mina saying had a brilliant evening. Oh, she went out and had a passion fruit martini cocktail, one of my favourites. And nice 25 US is here. Good morning. She says good morning, Natalie, and everybody. So I hope you are all well. I've got lots of you in today, so I'm going to take you straight over to the website now, and I won't keep chatting for too long. Though I do love talking and learning about gemstones. Anytime I'm working with them, I want to know a little bit about it. Well, anytime I'm working with any bead, really, I want to know, like, where's that made? How's that made? But I just, as you can tell, I can't stop touching these. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and I think they look absolutely gorgeous together as well. So, hello. So this is your Jada bracelets. Let me take you over to the website. If we head over to Camille, I'll send you a message later, my love. If we go over to totallybeads.co.uk, you can head into the video tutorial category. I've jumped ship a little bit. I've gone a little bit quicker than I should do, so I'm going to go back one. When you head over to totallybeads.co.uk, you'll be taken to this gorgeous page with all of these beauties. Look at them fire agates. I can't wait to get to the warehouse. I've got to use them. So head into the video tutorial section. You can go here, you can go there, you can drop down here. There's loads of ways to get in. If you click on this, the bracelet should be near the top. Sometimes I think it does change depending on your browser, but for me it's right here on the top line, and they are Jada flower bracelets. So if you click in, you will see what I mean about the amazing discount today. So the blue is £14.44. Again, you can see how that's discounted. Your dark amethyst is only £6.79. The Malaysia green jade is 16 and 14 pence. And then the red, which isn't red, it's pink. It's the best fuchsia pink. It's not red, it's pink. I'll show you the pink. I'm going to demo with the pink, but it's called red. And that is £11.89. So each of your kits is going to make 3 bracelets. So if you're looking at the dark amethyst coloured bracelet, it's 3 bracelets for £6.79, which, when you not only take into account all the gorgeous beads, we're looking at all of your findings, that lovely clasp and those gorgeous flowers. That is an amazing price. They're all amazing price. These are gemstone beads here. So I'll head into the blue and I will show you this close up and in the colorway. So you're getting full jade faceted beads. They are gorgeous. I think they're 8mm in size. Is that right? Yeah, 8mm. So they're chunky. I'm using the antique silver flower beads, which are 9mm in size. And you can see they've got a lovely drill hole that runs from top to bottom, and they have the most amazing detail. I will show you these close up. But if you have a little look at these beautiful flowers, you will see you've got the center, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals around that, and then other little petals framing that as well. And they've got the most gorgeous etchings on them. Now, these have been given like a little patinaed look. It gives it that antique kind of silver look in this metal way. And that really brings out the depth and the detail on these beautiful flowers. You can see me just hovering over there, how gorgeous they are, but also the facets on those 8mm jade as well. So you're going to be getting your Tigertail wire. I'm going to be using about 8 inches of Tigertail pear bracelet, but of course, you change up the size that you want. These bracelets, if you make them to how I've made, exactly the same amount of beads and findings, they will be about 8 inches in length. Now, if you want a smaller bracelet, you just take off a couple of the beads. It's as simple as that. But you're going to be getting enough to make 3 of those. So you're going to get all the tiger tail, enough for 3 bracelets. I'm using jump rings, Callottes, Crimp Beads, and the toggle clasp. Now, the toggle clasp on this colorway is your swirl ring. It's 16mm in size, so nice and large, but also not too large that it's in the way, I think, on your wrist. I think I often like wearing delicate looking jewellery, and this is a somewhat in between. It's not too chunky, it's definitely not too heavy, but it just gives it that kind of, it's just a little bit larger, and therefore I think it's easier to get on and off. But I've used the toggle and it's the swirl in this one. Those findings are nickel free as well. So that is your beautiful Jada 3 bracelets in your kit in the Malaysian blue jade, which is just, it's gorgeous. Look at it. It's got such an icy colour. Now, I do think this is colour enhanced, but I have been a little bit cheeky this morning and I'm testing. I was trying to test the colour and the dye on this, and the way I did that is because I wanted to make sure that, you know, these aren't going to fade over time. When you've got dyed jewellery or dyed gemstones, I think so many gemstones on the market are colour enhanced. It gives it more of an appeal. And I said to you the last time I was using dyed stuff, I've got no problem at all, as long as, you know, you've got that honesty and understanding. I wouldn't want someone to buy this beautiful dark amethyst coloured one and think they were getting amethyst. They're not. They're getting Malaysian jade. So you can, by all means, make sure people are aware of that. But I wanted to do a little bit of a test. So this morning I took the blue and I took the pinky red, and I have soaked them in acetone like a nail varnish remover. And if it's dyed, the colour will come off. And I'll be honest with you, no colour come off those. So I'm assuming they're enhanced, but I don't know. But these are, and this is why with this dark amethyst, you're getting an amazing price here. Just £6.79 for 3 bracelets. I've used all the same components, only this time, if you have a little look, I'm using the bronze. So I've got these antique bronze beads. They're the same flowers. They've just got this gorgeous finish. I absolutely love these. And then I've got the bronze clasp as well. It's called a star ring. I think that's quite floral. The fact it's got a centre, I would say it's more flower than star. But I've never been that close up to a star, so I don't know. But it's described as a star ring. So there's your measurements for those. We're still using 8mm faceted jade here. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that colour. It is so deep and so rich. I'm a bit annoyed today that I've got all the lights on and it's so dark in this room, because I want to show you these close up. They're absolutely beautiful. So that one is your Jada flower bracelet in dark amethyst. We also have, I think this might be my favourite today. This is your Malaysia green, and look at it. Now I've paired this with your bronze clasp, and it says here that's an antique gold toggle, but it won't be. It's a bronze one. The description's slightly wrong with that. So it's kind of like oh, see what's happened here is you've got 2 toggles in this kit. That's not the case. This is the toggle, the bronze red that you're going to get. And your findings are going to, we're just missing the flowers, aren't we? Okay, I didn't spot that. So the flowers are also this kind of bronzy, kind of coppery colour, which again, I'll show you down on the mat. And I'm using rose gold findings with this. So jump ring and your culotte will have that warmish kind of pinky red copper tone to them as well. This is how they look. Look, you can see the flowers there. So the clasp and your flowers are going to match beautifully. And I will double check with the warehouse to make sure they're aware that they're getting those things out to you. They will be right, it'll just be the description that's just been slightly edited. So £16 and 14 pence for 3 of these bracelets. Gorgeous Malaysia green. I do think this would make the most beautiful necklace. But I've made them as bracelets because I wanted you to get the most out of your kits today. So that one is your Jada flower bracelet in green. And lastly, but by no means least, you tell me, is that red or is that pink? I'll show you them down on the mat, because to me it's pink. But then I suppose sometimes you can get rubies, and they're definitely more on the pink side, even though it might be classed as like a red ruby. And sometimes it might be called like pigeon blood, which is a horrible description, but that describes the colour of it. Sometimes I don't like the actual technical names. It's like when you get jade, sometimes you can get mutton fat jade, which is like a white colour. And I just don't think that's very nice in terms of its wording. So I like using my own words, and this to me is a gorgeous fuchsia pink colour. So in this is where you're getting your gold. So this is your gold, antique gold toggle. This is your antique gold beads. They're all the same size. So your flowers are 9mm, your jade is 8mm, and your toggles there for you as well. So that one is the pretty pink one. Think these colours would look beautiful mixed, but you do you. These are the discounts for you today. Really, really amazing price. If we look at the Malaysia green jade, that should have been £18 and 99 pence, almost £19, and we've taken that right down for you. So you've got a lovely discount on, and you're making 3 bracelets in each of your colours today, whichever one you choose. So, I get excited, as I'm sure you're very aware, when I talk about the gemstones. I could talk about them all day. So you let me know if you know anything that I don't, because we're all here to share and learn together, aren't we? Let me have a quick check if I've missed any questions. Good morning to Sue. Good morning to Joanne. Mina's, is it it's Mina's son's 18th birthday tomorrow. Where does the time go, Mina? Hope he has a lovely, lovely day. Good morning to Yolanda. She says, good morning, everyone, in this cold Michigan morning. Schools are closed, but I've still got to go to work. Oh, bless you. Is it schools closed because of the weather, Yolanda, or is it like snow? I'm going to have to check what's going on in Michigan. I hope you're well. And good, yes, we do, Mina. We all need a little bit of downtime. I think it's good for the soul, isn't it? And the food was wonderful. Sheila says, good morning. You're still there. Just said, you've lost connection. Don't know. Yeah, what? Hello? What's going on? You've lost connection, so we're going to just bring you up something you don't need. Right, what's going on? Are we here? Am I all still going? Are we all right? Good morning to Heather. Good morning to Anne. Heather agrees it looks pink. Oh, okay. Sheila says it looks red on my screen. And Rani's in. Good morning to you, sweetheart. She says from a very cold and rainy day. Right, okay. Let's have a look how it looks on my screen. Everyone's eyes are different as well, aren't they? I'll see something, you'll go. I've been looking at tiles as well this weekend, and I've seen some really lovely ones, and my husband's like, they're blue, and I'm like, well, they're more teal. There's a green in them. And we're having, I'm back, thank goodness for that. We're having a debate about colours within everything, so we'll have it about the beads. Good morning, Pauline. Hello. Yolanda says temperatures are 4 degrees, so they closed the schools, and they got more snow as well. Well, keep warm, Yolanda. Right, okay, no debating. This is blue. It's the most gorgeous blue. Look at it. It's got like an icy kind of, there's also got like a bit of a translucency to it as well. If I just move these out, can you see? Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the facet. And then I've got these antique silver flowers. The detail on the flowers are just so pretty. And then you've got your swirl toggle clasp. So you've got those beautiful little swirls on the bar. and on the ring. And I'm using like a rhodium findings on that, so it all ties in really, really beautiful. This is your amethyst colour, so it's purple. It's a purple. See, my camera doesn't know what to do with it. It's like light, dark. But I'm quite liking that effect because you get to see really deep, gorgeous purple. And then I have here the bronze flowers, still the most beautiful detail on them. And then your swirl clasp. And your findings are also matching, which I think is lovely that you've got that kind of match in terms of your colourway with that. So I've gone for kind of like dark jump ring and then tying that in. So that one is your purple. This is your Malaysian green. There you go. And again, those beautiful copper flowers with your kind of copper red clasp. And then I've gone for the rose gold findings because I think they match quite nicely. Oh, thanks, Rani. She says these are absolutely beautiful. And then these are what I would say is pink. My nails are red. There you go. There's an example. My nails are red. They're pink. Heather's saying loving the green. I love the blue and the silver together, says Yolanda. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm chatting so much because they are the easiest bracelets you will make. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to take my tiger tail. Now my tiger tail is my favourite thing to string with. So if I am making something as straightforward as this, there's no kind of stitch pattern, I'm just threading on the beads, then I'm going for a tiger tail. Your tiger tail is, I think in this tiger tail case, it is 7 strands of very fine wire, and then you've got that nylon coating over the top. So it's very strong, it's very durable, it works perfectly with the crimp beads and Callottes to give you that lovely professional finish. And if you have got a heavier bead, then this is a really good thing to use. You can see it's got that flexibility with it, but it's just not flimsy, if that makes a sense. So I'm going to trim off the very end where it's been on my reel, and I'm going to cut myself about 8 inches in length, which I think is about 20 centimeters for those of you that work that way. And I'm just cutting that off my reel. You're going to get enough to make 3 bracelets, and of course you might want to use a little bit less. I'm going to have a little bit more than I need just to give myself something to hold on to. Now you can, if you want to, work with a bead stopper. I don't need to. I'm going to just go straight on with my findings and that will act as a bead stopper. You can see already it's got that beautiful curve in it just coming off the reel. And Camille saying your nails are orange, the beads are pink but red on screen. They're not orange. They're not orange. They're red. They're red glitter with bits missing. Don't look too closely at them. Rani says looks orange on my screen as well. Hot pink, says Heather. Right. Funny, isn't it? Well, when you get them, you can tell me what you think they look like. I'm going with a fuchsia pink. So I'm going to take my calotte. I'm going to use the gold one in this colourway, and I'm going to have it facing up and out. I'm going to come in with 2 crimp beads just to make it really nice and sturdy. So I'll scatter a few of those out on my desk, and I'm just going to pick 2 up and slide them straight on. So onto the tiger tail it goes. I'm just checking I'm still here. Rani's asking what's a bead stopper. Rani, this is a bead stopper. Let me have a little look. I have got one to hand. Look, I am tidy and organised. That's a bead stopper, sweetheart. So all it is, it's like a little coil spring, and it's got 2 little bits there, and you just push it open. So if I was using my tiger tail, I'd just pop it on the bottom and then I can thread my beads on, and it's going to stop the beads from falling off. And then when I want to take it off at the end, just open it up. These are available, or should be available, on the Totally Beads website as well, and they're I shouldn't guess, should I? But I think they're about £1. It could be a little bit more, a little bit less, but you definitely always have one of these to hand. So if I was making something and I was didn't want to put my findings on, I'd usually use my bead stopper just to stop them rolling off the other side. But I'm going to just put my crimp beads and my Callottes on. So I'm going to take my first crimp bead, or the last crimp bead rather, that I put on, and slide it right up to the end of the tiger tail. I'm just going to press down with a pair of pliers. You can use chain nose, whatever you want. So you can see that that bead is now flat. I'm not crimping my crimp bead like they're intended. If I was going to crimp my crimp bead, what I would do is I would get a pair of crimping pliers, and it would flatten it like this, and then I would press it in the different part of the plier, which would fold it over. I don't need to do that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the calotte so you won't see it. So all we need the crimp for is to finish the end of the tiger tail so it doesn't come off. What I do though is I add 2 crimp beads on, and that way if one does fail, so for example if the tiger tail was to come loose out of there, which I don't think it's going to do, I've got the other one there to protect it. So again, I'm sliding it up right next to it, so you can see the crimp beads are small and round, and then can you see just by that little bit of pressure, it's gone to kind of like that little rectangle shape. So all I'm going to do is just move the other crimp bead up towards the last one and press down again. And now I've got 2 sitting almost side by side. Joe says, reds and pinks are so hard to capture accurately on screen. I take nail pics and pink nails often look red and reds look orange. Well, don't get me talking about the colours red and orange, because I do believe in the English language there was no such colour or word for orange. It was always red, which is why you've got robin red breasts. If you actually look at a robin bird, it's orange, not red. So it was only after the fruit, which the fruit was called orange, that we chose that word to describe that colour. So the fruit actually came before the colour, which I just think is really cool. I like a random fact. So yeah, they're all, and if you really want to get interesting, have a look. Now we kind of associate pinks with girls and blues with boys when we look at, those stereotypes. Pink used to be the colour for boys because it was a watered down red and kings wore red. So it used to be that boys were predominantly dressed in pinks, and girls, they used to, Camille's like, yes, teach. Girls used to wear more blue. I don't know whether it was linked in with like the Virgin Mary, but it was meant to be a softer on the complexion. So there you go. That's another random fact for you. You can fact check me and tell me that's absolutely not true, but I don't know. I like it, so I'm keeping it. So back to the crimps. They're now sitting inside the calotte. Just push the calotte up. If you want to, you could always just put your crimps on and then slide the calotte on, but I do it in this order. I'm going to make sure that the crimps are facing this way. So when I close the calotte over with my fingers, these start to line up and those crimp beads are in the middle. That's why I don't need crimping pliers and I don't need to crimp them properly, because once I've closed this over, so a little bit of pressure, just take my pliers and just close it kind of towards the bottom of it, you'll see now that that firms up and it becomes like a little rounded bead. So that's going to give me a really nice professional look, and it's also going to allow me to be able to add on my jump rings and my clasp really easily at the end. Heather says, that's true, I've heard that before. You might have heard it off me, Heather, because once I've got a factor, I like to share. Right, all I'm going to do now is just string on my beads and my flowers. For an 8-inch bracelet, I'm going to go for 10 of the beads, and I'm going to go for 9 of the flowers. I'm going to start with my bead, just because I think it just fits nice next to that little calotte. And all I'm going to do is just alternate. Now what's beautiful is these beads of the flowers are the same in both sides. So they spin, and you can see it doesn't really matter which way round you put them on. I'm just going to be picking up and alternating. Now again, if you want to, you've got enough to make 3 bracelets, so you could change your pattern around if you wanted to. You could add maybe a few of the beads in and then one of the flowers. You could do your pattern whichever way you like. You could, if you wanted, just do all of these flowers and just have like a full metal look. You could do whatever you like. But for mine, I'm literally alternating between the gorgeous 8mm faceted Malaysian jade, and then I'm just taking my little flower and stringing them on in between. I think they're a nice size. I think because the faceted jade is 8mm, I didn't want too small of a spacer or bead in between. So I think the flowers were 9mm, weren't they? They were just slightly bigger. And I think it just complements each other quite well to give me that nice chunky look. So all I'm doing is just taking my Tigertail, no needles, no tools, nothing complicated, like minimalist toolage and materials, just to make a really pretty bracelet. I also think these are suitable for all ages. I know 3 particular little girls that would very much like to have one of these. I also know a little boy who would particularly like to have one of these, because anytime I make anything, he goes, "Ooh, can I have it?" And I'm like, do you want it? He's like, yeah, so okay. Yeah, any age as well. So stringing all of my beads on. I started with the Malaysian jade, so I'm finishing with it too. Again, they've got a gorgeous, like, slight translucency to them. So I've got all of them on for the length that I need. Hello, Angela. She's very wet and full far, building up courage to take the dogs out in the rain. Good luck with that. Don't blow away. Be careful if it's windy. So back on now with my calotte. I'm going to make sure that it's facing outwards again. I don't want to put it this way. If I put it on that way, I'm not going to be able to close it. So I want it to go this way, so my loops are facing outwards. I can get that curve in the bracelet as well if I want, and making sure all of my beads are kind of close down together. There's no gaps in between. I'm going to pick up just 1 crimp bead to begin with now and slide that on. And I'm just going to get the curve in my bracelet because I would like the tension right. And then I'm just going to come in with my pliers. I can move over a little bit, actually, might be a bit better. And all I'm doing is the same as before. I'm just pushing down on that crimp bead, so it's close inside of the calotte. And at this point, if you want, you can give it a little wiggle just to make sure that it's holding onto that tiger tail okay. And then I'm going to slide on another crimp bead, make sure that's down on top of the last crimp bead, but also that it's facing the same way when I squish it. I don't want to squish one that way and one that way if they're both lined up on top of each other. So rather than like that, if they're both lined up on top of each other, they'll fit inside the cloth really nicely. So my finger's in the way, you can see it's round now. Gentle press down, and they're now both flattened. I'm now going to come in with my cutters and just trim off any excess tiger tail. So you can see I have got a bit of extra tiger tail there, and that's why I cut 8 inches and a 1 1/8 bracelet. The reason I cut it a little bit longer than the actual piece I'm going to need is if I just had a tiny piece of tiger tail, I'd be trying to make sure that I could fit the crimp beads on and that it wasn't going to fall off. Having that extra length just means I can pull down on it and get it all nice and tight. All I'm going to do now is just close over with my fingers so they're partially lined up. Come in with my chain nose and just press down just gently, just enough to make sure those little loops at the top are lined up, and then I've got that little bead kind of shape from my calotte. Now I'm going to take my 2 jump rings. I'm going to get all of this in my kit. I'm going to get my crimp beads, my Callottes, my Tigertail, my jump rings and my beautiful clasp. Do bear in mind, if you choose the silver colorway, you're going to get the swirl clasp. With these other colours, you're going to get that star flower. Heather's saying I might try the pink with the silver. Ooh. Yeah, I think they would look lovely together. I think they're all going to look nice. So if I wanted to use, like, you know, the blue with the gold, they would go. If I wanted to use the green with the gold, they would go. If I wanted to use the purple with the silver flowers, they'd all go. Rani says, my two granddaughters, 8 and 4, make jewellery too, and they love it. Oh, that's lovely, Rani. Do you have like a little family day together where you all have a little make together? Oh, that sounds lovely. Sometimes I ask Frank to help, but I'll be honest, it just takes forever. When I've got a million colorways, I'm like, could you count those beads for me, or could you color code them for me? So yeah, but it's nice to get them involved. I'm going to open up my jump ring, so I'm going to give it a little turn towards me, not too much, just a little bit, just to open it up. Camera won't focus, sorry about that. And then I'm just sliding that jump ring through the clot. All I'm going to do now is pick either the round bit, the ring, or the bar, and I'm just going to slide that on to the jump ring so they all fit nice. Let me use my tools, get a little bit of purchase. So just slide on and then closing up the jump ring with my pliers. So I'm just taking it back in the opposite direction. So I tend to give it a twist towards me to open and twist away to close. And then on the other side, we're going to do exactly the same. I'm going to take my jump ring, not fully lined up at the moment. Can you see how it's slightly staggered? So I'm going to give it a little twist to open, slide that on through, and then with my bar, I'm going to slide that on and then close up. So I've opened it by moving it towards me. I'm going to close it by moving it away and just make sure that they're nicely lined up. If I need to, I'll take it slightly past the point where they meet and it'll spring back closed. You can make this bracelet in, I would say, 5 minutes. Have I chatted away to you for about 40? Yeah. That's my bracelet. So this one is the red Jada flower bracelet, which I think looks pink and really easy because I've got that long toggle to get it on and off. So they're just cute and chunky. This one's too big for me, but actually it does depend whereabout you like to have your bracelets. I wouldn't suggest you have it too tight. Some people like the fact that they can move up and down. Again, they would make really lovely bracelets. They look necklaces. They look lovely layered. So you've got 4 colour choices today. You've got the Jada flower bracelet in the Malaysian red. You've got it in the blue jade. You have it in the Malaysian green jade, and you have it in a dark amethyst colour as well. And they change in terms of your findings. So the blue one is on an antique silver. So you've got your antique silver beads and you've got your swirl ring clasp on that one. For your red, which I think is pink, that's on a gold. Your Malaysian green jade is on like a bronze red copper finish with your rose gold findings being your Callotte, your crimp and your jump ring. You don't see the crimps anyway. And then your dark amethyst is on this absolutely gorgeous bronze, and your flowers are bronze and your toggle clasps bronze as well. So that's them today. They do vary in price. The cheaper one being the amethyst coloured, which is only £6.79, which is for 3 bracelets. And then you have the gorgeous green, which is £16.14, again for 3 bracelets, and they have all been discounted for you. So if you like the look of them and you'd like to get your kit, head over to totallybeads.co.uk. Fairness Born says, very pretty, thank you, Natalie. I don't know what I've missed. Rani says that her daughter and 2 granddaughters have a little pamper day and they make jewellery. That sounds gorgeous. Rani, do share your makes with us. We'd love to see what you get up to, especially if it's something, you know, that you've been inspired by from watching one of the lives, or you've maybe got some gorgeous components from Totally Beads and you want to show off what you've done with them. You might get these flowers and think, I've got enough to make 3 bracelets, so I'll make 1 bracelet and I'm going to do something completely different with them, and I would love to see what that is. And thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday, and on Wednesday, what am I doing? Bear with me. On Wednesday, I am going to be making, I'm just going to my diary. Oh, okay, so I've got some love, name them Georgina. They're kind of a little bit geometric, I think, in design, given the shape of the beads and the crystals that I'm using. They're very, very shiny and very, very pretty. And Rani's asking, how do I share and where? Well, you're watching us on Facebook. So if you go on to Totally Beads, we have a group called Totally Handmade, is it? Or is it Handmade at Totally Beads? Either way, we will find you and you can join, or you can find us. We'll hunt you down, Rani. If you just type in Totally Beads and Handmade, it will take you to our page. So there you can share whatever you like, within reason, providing it's related or crafty. We like to see whatever you're doing. And if you've got any questions at all, maybe you've said, I've just watched Natalie, she said bead stopper and I don't know what that is. What is it? Everyone in the community is really, really helpful. You might need to know the name of a product. You might want to just get some absolute praise on something you've made. You might ask for some critique. What I will say about the group is we never critique something unless you've asked for it. So if you show something, and we've got a whole mixed bunch of people from very expert to very, very beginner, we're always there for advice and to help. And yeah, hope you can join us there. Brilliant. We look forward to seeing you. So thank you all so much for being with me today. I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday and I'll be doing those lovely Georgia necklaces. So if you want to come and join me then, I'll be here 10 a.m.